Mhm.
Hi, Sadie.
Hi, Gia. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, and yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. I would just like to start by thanking you for agreeing to this interview. This is going to be the first episode of Project Diversity, and honestly, I want it to be the first of many. So, thank you
Mhm.
so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such an honor to be here. And thank you for making me the first guest.
No, you are perfect. Honestly speaking, I wanted to kickstart it with a Black queer woman, so I was like, what could go wrong? And there's somebody that I know. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, I think we should just get right into it. So yeah, my first question to you is just okay. Tell me more about yourself. Okay, tell the viewers more about yourself, and then we'll get into the questions. I think that will make things a bit lighter and
Easier.
the atmosphere nice.
Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Sadie Brown. I am 26 years old. I am a queer woman who's living with HIV. So I am an HIV victor. I'm an HIV activist.
Thank you so much. um, so yes, um, what is your sexual orientation and what are your pronouns?
Okay, so I am a gay woman. I'm homosexual, and my pronouns are she or her.
Awesome. And then I would like to know from you, why do you think it is important for people to respect your pronouns?
Pronouns are literally a person's identity, and if you are ripping a person of their pronouns, or you are refusing to address people or call people by the pronouns that they tell you, then you are literally ripping them of their identity, and that's not a cool thing to do. And you are literally ripping them of their humanity and their dignity. So they are important. We're not just doing it for fun.
Okay, I actually agree with you. Um,
Yeah.
so how was it for you, like growing up as like a member of the LGBTQIA plus community? I mean, did you know by the age of 6, or you had to turn 10 for you to know? Like, what happened? Tell us.
So I was actually talking to a friend about this a few weeks ago, and I was saying that I think the first time I really looked at a girl and like, you know, I think I was in grade 4. I was 10 years old, she was 11, and I mean we were young and we didn't really know what we were doing. And if we're being honest, homosexuality is not a concept that is like that kids are familiar with, right? So we were not sure what we were doing, but we were just like, we kind of like this.
Let's do it.
And and I think we grew up and we kind of like we stopped that whole thing. And it was only in my matric year where I literally had a boyfriend. And we went to this matric camp. You know those matric camps where we go on like school holidays.
Mm.
So we went on this camp and we were mixed with learners from an all-girls school. So there were girls there who were really fine and they were like openly gay. And I was just like, oh my God. That time I have a whole entire boyfriend, but I was just like, yeah, I think I like these girls. And I think that was when and I think that was when I really realized that actually I
Okay.
like girls.
So that was really an amazing experience for you, I must say.
Yeah, well, it was confusing still. I think it was confusing because of the homophobia that
Oh
people
yeah.
like homosexual people still experience. So even when you know and you are certain, you are like, I was 16 in matric, so I'm still just like, I like this feeling. I like how I feel, but also what are my friends gonna say? What will my family say? So you also have those issues and those battles that you have to fight with yourself.
Okay. So like besides it like being confusing, the whole situation, did you come up with any challenges with regards to your sexuality, especially being in matric, and also after matric? Did you find it more challenging that now, okay, I don't see my friends every day, or particular people that were like my sense of comfort.
Yes.
Okay.
So after matric, I mean, after my first girlfriend, I also went through, because I mean she was my first love and she broke my heart. So I just felt like, you know what, I'm going to leave girls alone and I'm just going to date boys. So I also went through that phase where I really thought I was bisexual, right? Because I was just feeling like I think I'm better off with boys because this one girl broke my heart and I don't know if I want to, subject myself to this again. So I tried dating boys. That didn't work out. Here I am. And I think then getting to like come into myself and come to the realization that you are actually not attracted to boys or to men like that was a difficult journey into self-discovery, but it was also a journey that was worth it. I did experience those difficulties of having to speak to my family about my sexuality, even my friends, because back then we are also young and we are all trying to figure life out. And because we are also young, we are very naive in our thinking. So it's just like, but you're a girl, why are you liking girls? We all have boyfriends, why were nah? Or you like girls. So it was difficult, it really was, but here we are.
Here we are. Like, I'm laughing there, I'm smiling most of the time because you just remind me so much of myself. I'm just like, why? Why is the journey so difficult? Like, for you to get answers, why isn't it like straight and narrow?
Yes. And also we are so young. I feel like the least we could get from the universe is that little bit of grace, to just have people who are supportive, people who understand, and they're just like, okay, fine, you are different from us, but we love you just as you are.
Yeah.
But instead we have to educate while also educating ourselves. And it's just like, it makes the journey so tiresome.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, those are our chronicles living in a heteronormative society. So I mean, so like you mentioned that it was very difficult for your closest friends and for your family for them to understand like your sexuality. So did you like sit them down and officially like come out to them, or they just figured it out?
So with my friends, I had to tell them, because I have to tell them that I like this girl and that girl and. But with my family, I didn't really like sit them down and come out. I don't really have like a coming out story. They just saw things happen, and I'm just like. Also, I think at the time I just felt like there's no reason for me to say I'm gay because my other siblings and my cousins don't need to say they're straight. But I also, like, in hindsight, I can also see how I was scared because I was a child, and having to sit your parents down and tell them something like this. Also, I am a very vocal person. I've always been very vocal. So I know that a huge part of me wanted that. I wanted to sit them down and have this conversation, because conversations. But I also was quite scared of their reactions, and I just felt like, you know what, they'll just see it as I go. And they saw it as I went.
Oh wow. Which is the drama kwa jarateng. Fela yalo. They just saw things happening.
No, how? But what else what more can I say? She's
Yeah. I understand. But yeah, you mentioned something that actually stood out for me very much, because I remember also like when I was like dealing with my own like sexuality, gender identity, I got to a point whereby I was asking myself, is it really, really necessary for me to come out? Is it my fault? Because at the end of the day, if you want to make it about God, I mean, I came out like this. I didn't choose. You understand? So I'm just like, let's take it the same way we take race. I came out like this. Please be accepting. So
yeah.
Yeah, one of the good days, I'm thinking of actually organizing a debate, or like rather a public dialogue whereby we actually discuss, is it really necessary for us to come out? Is it? Why is it necessary?
I genuinely, despite the fact that I didn't come out, I honestly see how important it can be for other people, right? I feel like there are people who like they feel they need to have to say, this is who I am. Firstly, for even their own self-discovery journey, because as I mentioned earlier on, that journey is difficult on its own. And I'd like to believe that we all have different journeys because we all live different lives. So I think for some people, it is important that they actually do the whole sit down, mom, I have a boyfriend or I like boys. And that's also fine. And I also did mention that a huge part of me also wanted that. I just avoided because I was just like, I don't think I'm up for the debate. So I'm just going to like just carry on with my life like nothing is happening. But I think had I been in a position or had been given the platform to sit people down and say, this is who I am, I most probably would have.
So I don't know if I would have, because well, my coming out story is quite sad, but that's not the day for that. But yes, I do understand your point, because at the end of the day, you coming out, it also creates room for people, those that are around you, to know that, okay, this is who she is, her pronouns are these, so use them. That way you don't make them feel some type of way. Because the easiest way for a person to understand pronouns, treat them like names. You can't do this with them. If I said they, them, why are you going to she, her? Don't do that.
Yeah. Have you seen Vanenda's ad? Yeah. Have you seen that?
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's advert of the century.
Mama. It's not HIVictor plural. That's all you need to know.
Like, honestly speaking, that advert is very much like revolutionary. Like, it was necessary. I love it with everything in me.
Yes, I genuinely love it too.
Yeah, let's move on to, okay, I have one last and important question for you. I want to know from you, as an activist, an HIV activist, our HIVictor, I want to know from you, in what ways do you think we can accommodate members of the LGBTQIA plus community? Yes, what do you think should be done?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. It's very important. I think the first thing that we could all try to do as human beings would be to listen, right? I literally am one person and I'm speaking on experiences of a lot of people, right? And that doesn't mean that my answer is the manual of doing things. There are people with different experiences. And I think what would really help us as human beings would be for us to be able to listen to what our people and the people in our circles need from us, right? So as an HIVictor who's also queer, I have also, because I've grown in my activism, I have now had the platform to be able to advocate for queer women who are living with HIV. I wasn't doing that when I started because I was very young and I was very careful of what I was saying when I was saying it. But now I've grown in my activism and I'm literally 27 now. I'm 27, so I can actually say I'm gay and I like women and I'm also living with HIV. So how do we navigate things like sex? Now I can say that and not feel like so it has been very important for me to advocate for queer women who are living with HIV and just queer women and their sexual and reproductive health in general, because I can't just focus on queer women who are living with HIV, because there's also a lot of women who are not living with HIV. And we are trying to get to a point where HIV is not a factor in people's relationships, right? So if we are going to disregard the fact that queer women are included when we speak about HIV, we are disregarding them of their sexuality, we're disregarding them of their sexual health, we're disregarding their partners of being able to navigate through healthy relationships and healthy sex lives with their partners, because it's just like, but we all know that women to women sex, the rates are low, but then how do you then teach them to be able to navigate through sex in general? You have to speak about things like how to access things like PrEP, things like PEP. You can't just say, like we know who the key pops are, and we are just going to focus on those people. There are a lot of people who are living with HIV in the world, and we are all diverse, and we all have different journeys. And I think it's important that we just keep on trying to accommodate and including everyone in these conversations to be able to reach an HIV-free generation.
That's actually, I love it. Like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to mess up anything. Like, you literally took the words right out of my mouth. Because honestly speaking, I mean, we're living in a very like complex era. You understand? There's a lot of things that are changing. And I feel like as people, we should also change our minds, you know. Because one thing that I find unique about humans is our ability to learn. Whether you are living with a disability or not, we have that power. We can learn. You understand? So I would find it like very, very wrong for like, not wrong per se, but it's just rather odd that you are literally made to accommodate new information, but you just don't want to. It's like you're ignoring facts.
You refuse to, you know, the one thing that baffles me about stigma and about like homophobia, transphobia, biphobia is the fact that we, like, people are literally refusing to learn. There's so much information to our disposal. You can go on Google right now, search something to do with homosexuality, to do with HIV, you will find something. But people still refuse to look beyond their stigma and their limitations that are also rooted in stigma, because they just want to feel like they are superior because they are straight or they're HIV negative or whatever the case. And I just feel like once we stop looking at social ills as, like, once we stop treating people who are affected by social ills as problematic people and just look beyond their struggles and see them as human beings, we could be able to achieve so much.
Yeah, that's very true. I believe we have reached the conclusion of our session, our interview. Is there anything that you would like to add?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun. This is very short, but I am having so much fun talking about this here with you. I think just in closing, I'm very passionate about intersectional activism, and I'm also very passionate about the world coming together to fight social ills. And I just feel like it's because of platforms like yours, like your platform, where we get to literally teach people and show them how intersectional everything is, right? I'm literally here. I'm a woman. I'm Black. I'm living with HIV. I'm gay. I'm so many things at once. And once we stop looking at other people's problems and seeing them as a person's problem, like once we stop looking at HIV and feeling like it's a SAIDY problem, or, you know, like all those things, we will get to a point where we are able to come together as people and just unite and fight things together. And I think that would really change the game for everyone in the world.
That's very true. Actually, that is very cool. We need to come together because at the end of the day, with every pandemic, or like, they call it an epidemic that comes, you know, there was an era whereby people didn't know what is HIV, what's happening, is the world coming to an end? You understand? But then institutions and, you know, corporates, they had to come together and literally figure out how can we rather alleviate or end this thing. You understand? So I just don't understand, why is it now a problem for a matter of sexuality? Why are we making it seem like it's something that's gonna take away our oxygen? You know? But yes, this, for me, I learned a lot of things. And one thing you also mentioned, inclusive sex education. For me, that's also one of the things that I'm very passionate about, because we live in a heteronormative society, everything is always boy and girl, boy and girl. And doing that, it opens a lot of gaps for children who are part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Because one thing about our society, they think that every child that you give birth to is heterosexual. That's the number one mistake we always do. So you get there, even in your life orientations class, your teacher is busy teaching and you are there. You're like, I'm Sadie and I think I'm bisexual. Well, I really like girls. So does that mean I'm lesbian? You know?
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
you understand the class that is being presented, but how do I apply it to me? Because at the end of the day, I know that if I want to be intimate, I want it to be with a girl. You understand?
Yeah.
So I hope in the next coming 5 years, literally 5 years, I think it's enough. Our education system and our health system should adapt to this, whereby we are able to address and openly talk about such issues. I mean, sex education should be inclusive, honestly speaking.
It should be so inclusive that it should even go beyond gender and sex. Because another thing that we're talking about is girls and boys and lesbian and bisexual, and there are trans people. There are girls who have penises. There are boys who have vaginas. There are human beings who don't belong to any gender. And I feel like we need to look beyond just girls and boys, you know, and just look at people as human beings before anything else. I think that is why the whole concept of pronouns is so important, because you need to get to, before you even engage me, you need to know who you are speaking to. And it's important that we keep on enforcing and just saying, and if I love our so that people get to know that this is what it is, and it's important, it's my identity, and you need to respect it to be able to get access to who I am.
That's very true. Because at the end of the day, you get your grammar police. They're like, no, you can't say they. It's one person. Who's they? Because only one person is
But my thing is, even in English, when you speak about Kia and we don't know Kia's gender, we always say they. But suddenly when you apply that to gender and pronouns, people act like they, and one thing they.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? Thank you so much. I hope we can do this again. Maybe in our final session, because I am planning to have 7 episodes in the interval of 2 weeks. Not interval, like every 2 weeks. Yeah, I will post. I will upload a video with a different speaker. So yeah, the last session, I would like to have you there, because I know you're very opinionated and very passionate about intersectionalism and just social justice in general, you know. So once again, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna try and enjoy mine.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye.